Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to KastKing on the Line with your host, Nikki, the hostess with the mostest. I don't know why I continue to say that. It just sounds really cool and I just go with it. So just go with it. And tonight we have a wonderful guest. We have Mr. Jim Jones with us. He is actually a personal friend of mine where I live, and I couldn't wait to have him on the show. Jim, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good to see you.
It's so good to see you. And it's so good to have you on the show. Since we started the podcast, I've always thought about you and wanting to have you on the show just because of everything that you do, especially fishing related. I just was really excited. So thank you for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
So Jim is a retired weatherman, right, Jim?
Yep, 36 years with the National Weather Service and 5 years in the Navy before that.
Oh my goodness. Can you want to talk to us a little bit about that? What got you into it?
Actually, the way I got into weather ended up being a reaction to mononucleosis before I graduated high school.
Oh my gosh.
I had an allergic reaction to penicillin and I became colorblind. And I was going to be in photographic intelligence in the Navy, and I couldn't because I was colorblind now.
Wow.
So I talked to them and they said, well, you can qualify for anything you want. And I said, okay, what works with charts? Because I'm very geographically minded.
Wow.
And they said, oh, weather. And I went, cool, let's do it. And the rest is history. And, I've always had my head in the clouds anyway, so it worked.
I like that. I'm right with you on that, Jim. Anybody who knows me, especially you know me, head in the clouds.
Yeah. So half my work, that was in the Navy, but half the work we did in the Navy and weather was also in oceanography. And so I spent a large portion of my time doing anti-submarine warfare or doing oceanographic profile works looking for submarines, acoustic profiling and such. And I was pretty good at it. Anyway, after my 5 years, I decided, actually, I worked for the National Weather Service and started in San Francisco. And they came looking for me. They were not necessarily me in particular, but they needed somebody, and I was just getting out, and it worked out, and the rest is history there. The majority of my career has been out west. I worked in Seattle for 12 years, Anchorage, Alaska for 12 years, Salt Lake City for 5, Phoenix for 2, and then I finished my career in Kansas City at the National Training Center as a national instructor. So, it was fun.
That's incredible, Jim. I didn't know anything about that. That's amazing. Now, you said Alaska. I've always wanted to go to Alaska. What was it like living out there in Alaska?
Cold for the
I knew
most
that
part.
was coming.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the opposite of Florida, where Florida you have hot summer and cold summer. In Alaska, you have cold winter and not so cold winter. Summers are short, but by time the ice is off the rivers, the salmon start coming back. And so from about late April through mid-September, you're out fishing as much as possible because that's what you've waited all winter for. And I used to be a guide up there.
Oh, wow.
I used to be a river guide, ran drift boats for salmon and steelhead out in Southeast Alaska. We had a company, a couple of friends of mine and I had a company north of Anchorage. And so I would work 8 hours, then get off of work and go meet the clients at the river at 5 o'clock and fish until midnight. Get home about 2 a.m, get up at 6 to go to work. And the old saying was, I'll sleep in September. It was fun. It was fun. But the winters get long, and the longer you're up there, if you're not a winter person, by 12 years, I was good to
You
go.
were done. You were done.
Yeah, but I've seen places in Alaska that fewer than 10 people have ever set foot.
I can imagine.
I used to do some sighting for future climate stations up there. It was a national and actually a global project, and went out into places where you get flown in by helicopter.
Wow.
Or get out by boat. I also made two, with some buddies of mine, 2 10-day, 140-mile float trips where you get flown in and dropped off, and you get picked up 10 days later, and you don't see another person in those whole 10 days. Everything you see is pretty much four-legged.
Oh my goodness. That's got to be kind of crazy. That's got to get a little.
Those were fun. Those
Yeah.
are fun. And, but when that plane drops you off out in the wilderness, you're on your own.
You're on your own. That's it.
Yeah. And you're running whitewater. Got to know what you're doing. I used to run whitewater. So,
Really?
yeah,
That must have been exhilarating.
it was fun. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm still getting used to Florida with,
Yeah.
The water doesn't move here very quickly.
No, and what a change from Alaska to Florida. I mean,
Yeah.
you adapted to it yet, or you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I lived in Kansas. Kansas City was the first time I ever lived away from the coast or the mountains for very long. So you get that the Midwest thunderstorms and humidity and heat, and then the cold winters. But that gave me a good idea of kind of what to expect here in Florida. And while like I said, I lived in Phoenix, I lived in Salt Lake City, so I was in the high, dry deserts out west.
Yeah.
So heat wasn't the issue; it was just getting used to the humidity.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can imagine. I mean, what a difference. Something to get used to.
Yeah.
We just have to have a word from our sponsors. So let me just read a word from our sponsors. KastKing offers you affordable innovation through the best fishing tackle, including a wide variety of quality fishing rods, fishing reels, fishing line, and fishing accessories. Look for KastKing products on Amazon.com, Tackle Warehouse, AcademyOutdoors.com, eBay, and of course, KastKing.com. Make the switch to KastKing like so many fishing pros have. And we are back with Jim Jones, and we are just talking about, he's a retired weatherman and getting used to the Florida weather from living in Alaska and coming here. And now this is where I met you. I met you in Florida. Now it's pretty crazy because we live really close to each other. Here we are doing this on the computer here and doing the podcast. And I live literally right around the corner from Jim in the Villages area, which is a beautiful, beautiful place in Florida. And I do love it. I love the heat. And I love being out here. It's like living in paradise. I tell people it's like living a vacation every day. Isn't that right? Like 24/7 vacation.
Yeah. It's, I've lived in paradise in other places. So this is just another step along the way.
Paradise is different for different people. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a great place to live. Other than we got to keep an eye out for a tropical storm headed this way.
Listen to the weather, man.
You might have fun getting home next week.
Yeah, I know. Is it coming? We do have one.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Great. Oh, just great.
It may be passing through the peninsula late Monday, Tuesday.
Oh, wow. Great. Look forward to that. Now, I met Jim through fishing. Jim goes out and he fishes the ponds like I like to do, does some pond hopping around the villages. And we have some really nice ponds where we catch some really good fish. And it's kind of quite funny because every time I would go to fish with Jim, we'd go out there fishing. I wouldn't get nothing, you know, maybe something here, something small, a little bit here and there. I'd turn around and leave. And next thing I know, Jim's posting a pic of a huge 8-9 pound bass that he pulls out of the pond, right in the exact spot that I'm fishing. Oh, it's crazy. You're amazing. You know, you're always pulling out those big fish.
You catch more than you let on, though, too. I've seen you land a few very nice fish, so
Yeah,
don't downplay it.
I'm getting used to it. It's kind of crazy, you know. Living in Illinois, I would always, you know, fish these ponds, and I would never get skunked. I'd always leave with a 4 or 5 pound bass, you know, all the time. And then coming to Florida, I figured, oh, the bass capital of the world, Florida. This is going to be great. I'm going to catch huge bass every single day. Nope. Yes, again, I'm out there struggling. And I got to get used to it because I have to learn, you know, obviously you being the weatherman, you know, the barometric pressure, and I have to learn how the weather, the heat out here plays into it as well. And, you know, learning what they want to bite on out here, which is, of course, you know, that's the best part of fishing. It's, you know, it's the enigma.
Well, it's trying to figure it out.
Right. That's the best part, trying to figure out what they're biting on, what they want. And then once you do and you get them to bite, I mean, there's no greater feeling in the world.
Yeah. I tell you, it's the ponds make it easier around here. And not that they're so plentiful, because I can tell you, for every fish I catch, there's at least 10 hours of nothing. You know, it's just persistence. You know, the fact that I can get my golf cart and go down in 5 minutes and be at one of the better ponds here in the villages happens to work in my favor. You know, I can go down there and spend 30 minutes, or I could spend 2 hours. Just, you know, how does it feel? But we've got over 20 ponds here that we're allowed to fish. You know, there's a lot of golf courses out here, and you're not supposed to fish ponds on the golf courses. And
not supposed to.
Yes. Well, yeah. Yeah. And so, you know, there's a lot of opportunity, but it's also like fishing in a fishbowl as compared to the lakes out here, which we've got some of the best bass lakes in the world. You know, Griffin, the Harris Chain, others around here, but they're, you know, unless you've got time to spend on them, they're very intimidating, because everywhere you look, there's structure where fish could be. And, you know, where do you start?
Right. And that's like we talked about, Jim and I both had boats. You know, Jim still has his boat, and we never use them. We'd rather, now where we live is a golf cart community. So you have to understand, everybody gets around in golf carts, which is the coolest thing in the world. And that's what attracted me to the area to begin with. Everybody goes to the stores on the golf carts. They're riding around in the golf carts. They do everything, cross the streets, ride down the streets, go golfing. And yeah, they use the golf carts more for other things than they do golf. But
that's true.
Jim and I like to do is we throw our fishing rods or tackle bags into the golf cart and drive the golf cart around from pond to pond and pond hop in the golf cart. I mean, it's a lot more fun. You don't have to drag the boat out. You don't have to worry about getting the gas on the boat and getting the boat ready, which takes an hour just to get ready, and, you know, hooking the boat up, dragging the boat to the lake you want to go fishing on. Then you get out there, then you got to get it into the water. And then you're out on the water.
Figure out where you're going to fish and how you're going to fish. And then, you know, the wind comes up and blows you off the lake. You get thunderstorms, chase you off the lake. And I can't tell you the number of times I've been out. I did okay. I catch a lot of small fish, but nothing of any size. And then I come back here, and in the evening, 20 minutes, go down to the pond. And next thing I know, I hook a 4 or 5 pound fish. You know, and I would have killed for that earlier in the day with my expensive bass boat.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. So it works out well. But these ponds around here, they're not easy because there's very little structure, and they're shallow. Most of the water you're fishing in is between 3 and 8 feet. So weather-wise, you know, they get hot. When the summer kicks in, the water temperatures go above 80 degrees and the fish get lethargic. And if they got no place to hide, they'll just find the deepest spots in the pond and sit down there. And you got to spoon feed them. You know, the only thing that'll draw them up out of the depths is if there's bait shallow. And so you got to get lucky. That's why I said you can spend 10 hours, you know, between fish, and then you might end up catching 3 or 4 really nice ones all of a sudden, and then you don't touch a fish for 2 weeks.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
since the last time I saw you, and I caught a 6 pound and a 4 pound
Yeah.
just
It
a
was
little
same
bit
day.
before you, that morning
Yeah.
before you showed up. I
Yeah.
haven't touched a fish since then.
Right.
You know,
Again,
it's the way it
patience.
is.
Right.
Persistence.
Persistence. Yeah. Persistence is key.
You got to keep trying, because you can't catch a fish if you don't have your line in the water.
Right. Right. Exactly. Now, when you're out there, I mean, a lot of people don't understand. We're in Florida. Gators are a big thing here in the ponds. You know, you're always going to come across a gator in these ponds, and I'm sure you've come across that a lot.
Oh, there's definitely ponds around here where you know they're there.
Yeah.
And some are very obvious and others are a little more subtle.
Right.
You also keep your eye out walking the banks for snakes too.
Right. Exactly.
Fortunately, I haven't run into any moccasins, but I've come across a lot of water snakes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. See, I don't do snakes. Nope. You know me. The snakes and I, you know, nope. But
Yeah.
I'm always got to be careful, because back in Illinois, you know me, I love to dance around, have fun, lay out on the grass. You know, you can't do that here in Florida. You got to be very
Hey,
careful.
first time you roll over a fire ant hill, you won't do that again.
I won't do that again. That's exactly right. And I've been bitten by them. Ouch.
Yeah.
Now you belong to an exclusive club, like for when you catch some big fish, right? When you catch big bass.
Well, I'm just part of the Florida Fish and Wildlife has a trophy catch program.
Trophy. Right.
Yeah, and it's free to anybody who has a Florida license, fishing license, and they give you, it's great. If you catch a fish over bass over 8 pounds, you qualify for trophy catch. And they put you in, it's called the Lunker Club. And that's for fish between 8 and 10 pounds. If you go from 10 to 13 pounds, then you're in the trophy catch, in the trophy club. Then you go above that, above 13 pounds, it's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
And my 4 years here now, I've officially got 9 trophy catch certifications. I probably got at least double that in what I have caught, but I didn't qualify because I didn't get it. You have to take a good picture with the scale and the fish and everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a good picture on a lot of those others because, well, when you're trying to control a 8, 9, 10 pound bass
by yourself
on a scale by yourself with the camera, you know, with your phone, and you're trying to get a clear picture of the whole bass with the scale that can be read all in one picture. And you're also trying to do it in less than a minute so you get that fish back in the water so it doesn't die on you.
Yeah.
You know, you think you take a good picture and something's missing. You didn't get the whole fish, or the scale didn't show up.
Right.
You know, there's glare on it. So I have that. But yeah, that's part of the Florida Fish and Wildlife, and it's a great program.
It's definitely a great program.
Yeah, they certify your catch. You get a certificate. Then there's different companies that will give you, like Bass Pro will give you a $25 gift certificate. Other companies will give you certificates to buy some of their gear or buy their equipment at discount. So it's all kind of, and you get an official certificate saying that you made the trophy catch.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. So for my biggest my biggest catch out of the ponds here is 11 pounds, 14 ounces.
Jim, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Well,
I'd love to have them.
it's now the third biggest fish officially weighed here. Last year, two of my other fishing buddies, they got a 12, a 12.4 and a 12.9.
Oh man. Oh, I would love that. You know me, I would be so ecstatic. I'd be jumping up and down.
Yeah, no, it just happens.
It happens.
I've caught the majority of my biggest fish within 30 feet of the bank on light gear, 6-pound test, spinning on a Ned rig or a 4-inch Senko worm.
Now you have any, now the reason when I came across Jim and I actually didn't know he had any KastKing gear on him. And I looked over and I noticed that his rod and reel, he had a KastKing rod and reel. And I thought that was so cool to see that. Now, have you caught any of the big fish on those?
Oh
On
yeah. Yep. I probably have at least half my fish. The first rod and reel you saw me with was the Speed Demon Pro. Yeah. The chatterbait 7 foot 3-inch chatterbait casting rod and the Speed Demon Pro reel. And that was my go-to rod. It still is. I mean, the rod I still use all the time. And as a matter of fact, just 2 days ago, I got a replacement Speed Demon Pro Elite.
Nice.
And so, yeah, and I've been getting it tuned in here the past couple of days. I'm getting to like it more and more. Not that it was I knew there was going to be any doubt to start with. But I also have a Speed Demon Pro spinning rod that's the equivalent of the casting rod. And I've got 3 Sharky 1000 spinning reels.
I love the Sharkies.
And I've probably caught the majority, well, I'd say about half my fish, half my big fish on those reels using 6 or 8 pound test. Nice. They're good quality equipment. And the way I got, I learned about KastKing was I was kind of researching. I'm one that doesn't like to spend a lot of money on rods and reels just because I'm hard on them. Absolutely. And I can't see spending $200, $300, $400 on equipment that I'm going to beat the crap out of.
Exactly.
Where I can get something that in my mind works almost as well, but I can get it at, a quarter of the cost, a third of the cost. And if I break it, if I damage it, I don't worry about it. I just go get another one if I like them. And and that's where I first learned about KastKing. I did my research, and then after I bought the first one, and particularly after I bought the Sharky reels, I knew, okay, these are going to do me just fine.
That's awesome.
And meeting you afterward, getting to know you and the company a little more didn't hurt either.
That's awesome. I'm so glad I met you. I've actually learned so much from you, just observing you and watching you fish, and learning from you and asking you questions. And you're an amazing fisherman. I definitely look up to everything you do.
I'm persistent.
You are persistent, that's for sure. You are always out there every morning. I always get a message from Jim. He always says, "Hey, I'm out such and such pond. You want to come on out and meet me." And I'm always busy working, but usually once in a while I can get out there, and I love it. It's nothing like fishing with Jim. Now, Jim everybody's always has a story of the one that got away. That big one? Do you have any stories of that one that?
Yeah.
I know it's painful. I I hate to bring it up.
Well, is late. What was it? I think it was December of, let's just say 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago. And I was fishing my local pond out here, which has a reputation for having some big bass. Mm-hmm. And it was late in the morning and it was kind of warm out. And I just decided to stop and, okay, I'm going to make a few casts on my way home. And I just threw out a worm. and I got a hit. And next thing I know, the one thing I know on these ponds around here, when your bait starts moving and moving fast, it's not a small fish.
Yeah.
And, you know, I felt the first hit, and then next thing I know, it's running on me and I'm hanging on for dear life. And this thing came out of the water. And in this time, I'd already caught fish up to 9 pounds. So I knew what a good fish was. This one came out and my jaw hit the ground when I saw it, because this thing was bigger than anything I'd hooked.
Oh my God.
I could have stuck my head in its mouth.
Oh my God.
And I was just hanging on for dear life, because I had got this on a long cast and it was running. And I thought I had a good hook set in it. But the way Florida bass are, I have never, having grown up fishing salmon and steelhead, and they get acrobatic and they do head shakes and things like that. But I've never caught a fish that so violently shakes their heads when they get airborne the way Florida bass do.
I've noticed.
And this thing, and I survived the first 2 leaps with this thing, and I still had it. And I thought, okay, I've got a chance. Then here comes the third one. And this thing, I mean, it looks like a watermelon.
Oh my.
And it's, you know, 3 feet above the water. And all I do, I can still picture it, is that I see the head shake in one direction. I see my bait go in the other direction.
Oh no.
And one of the golf course ambassadors, who was across the street and down the road, heard me yell and what I yelled. And he made a beeline straight over, because he goes, I thought somebody shot you where you got hit.
Oh my God. I know that yell.
Oh, I just,
Oh.
yeah. Well, and to finish the story off, about a month later, I was fishing in that same area, and I look down and I see a tail sticking out of the water. And it was a big tail. And it wasn't moving. And I go and another one of my fishing buddies was there, and I said, come here, I want to check this out. And I go and grab the tail and start pulling it, and I start pulling it, and holy crap, I couldn't believe how big this fish was. And it was dead. I mean, it looked perfectly alive. I could have taken a picture of it and told you I caught this, and I could have sent it to Fish and Wildlife, and they would never doubt that this was not a live fish.
Oh,
It
wow.
was perfect, but the thing was huge. And this was in the same area where I lost that fish.
Oh no.
We weighed it. It was not bloated. It was in perfect condition, and it weighed out at 14 pounds, 2 ounces.
Oh my God.
And I just looked at it and I said, that's the fish
That's
I
your fish.
lost.
That was your fish. Oh
Yeah.
wow, Jim, what a story.
And I didn't know what to do with it. So I just put it back in the water and let Mother Nature take care of it.
That's what I
And
would
you
have
know
done.
what? And you know what? I never saw the fish again.
You never saw it?
There was never a bloated carcass. There was
Oh.
never anything. So I don't know if it came back to life. I don't know if some of the soft shell turtles got a hold of it and dragged it down and picked it apart. I don't know if a coyote or
Gator.
there's no gators
No
in
gator.
that pond.
Not that pond. Wow.
No. But anyway, never saw it again.
Jim, what a
But
story.
I have pictures. I have pictures of that
You have pictures of that? Oh.
with the scale, you know, 14.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one I seen that. Yeah, that's the one I
I
saw.
showed.
Oh, yep. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. What a story, Jim. Oh man. That's incredible.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
my
would
Florida story.
I would have done the same thing. Now, do you have an Alaska story?
Oh, I've got tons of them. I can't think quick
Can't
enough to think of a good one.
Of a good one? I'm sure there's tons of them though. That must have been some big
Yeah, a
fish
lot
out
of
there
them.
too.
Well, yeah, and some of them involve bear, some involve
Oh.
moose, you know.
Quite the adventure.
So, yeah. Yeah,
That's
it was fun.
amazing. That's amazing. Jim,
Yeah.
it's,
But you know, even out here on the ponds, I see osprey every day.
yep.
You see gators, snakes, pelicans, cormorants.
See, that's what I
There's
always,
always something, you know, even if it's a slow day fishing, you know, I'm listening for a fish to break the surface. I'm watching the fish. I'm watching the water. Look to see that bow wave of a big fish moving, you
exactly.
know, looking for bait fish to move around.
And that's what I always
Uh,
try to tell people is that it's not just about the fishing. You're out there fishing, yes, but the fish are the bonus. It's just, it's being
yeah,
outdoors. It's Mother Nature. It's, you're out there fishing and observing, just beautiful.
cloud watching,
Yeah.
watching thunderstorms in the distance, try,
Sunrises. Yeah.
sunrises, sunsets.
Sets. Yeah.
You know,
We
I
do
think
have
there's
some
a
beautiful.
song in there somewhere.
There is, there is. And if there's a song in there, I'll find it. Yeah, that's wonderful. Now,
Yeah.
being a weatherman as you are, that has to definitely play into fishing. That's got to be like your ace in the hole. You know, that's got to help you, right? You know, knowing different things. You know, the barometric pressure, knowing this about the weather. You know, it's got to
Well,
help.
I know trend wise, particularly like in the winter when we get cold fronts coming in, I know that I may put more effort into fishing before the cold front comes in as opposed to fishing after when it turns colder. Because Florida bass don't like cold weather.
No, no,
Uh, you know, also when I see a big, when things are starting to heat up quickly, and I know the water temperature is going to start rising, I'll change tactics. I'll just start putting on a big worm and cast out as long as I can. And because I kind of know where there's some deeper holes in some of these ponds. And in many cases, that's the only place you're going to find some of these fish. You know, unless you're fishing early in the morning or late in the evening and you're trying top water near the, you know, near the shorelines and such. But if it's the sun's up, the moon plays a lot of big factor around here because when you get into a full moon phase and we got clear skies with these shallow waters, I mean, it's like putting a flashlight over the water for them, and the bait fish sparkle, and they know, you know, they'll eat all night, and you can stand on those banks and work all day, and you're not going to touch a fish until maybe early late afternoon, because they've been feeding all night.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Jim,
yeah,
you're wonderful, you know, and it's been great to, you know, coming up here, moving up to Florida and not knowing anybody and not knowing these waters and how to fish them, and, you know, and just being by myself. And I'm so happy I came across you, and I've learned, like I said, I've learned so much from you, and it's wonderful to have you there, to count on you, not only for fishing, but as a friend. You know, you're really great. And I'm so happy to be able to have you on the show.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jim.
Okay.
And let's see. So KastKing spells affordable innovation. Make the switch to KastKing for the best value in fishing gear. KastKing offers you an affordable, quality alternative to high-priced fishing products. Thanks for spending time today with KastKing on the Line. I'm Nikki. This has been Jim Jones. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next adventure. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Nikki.
We'll see you soon.
Okay.